as the upset, Patriots winning, and everybody thought we were crazy, especially a guy slightly down below us there that said there's no way it's going to happen. Turns out what Jim was actually talking about.
I'm not even sweating Baltimore,
this.
really. Yeah. I'm more worried about Seattle. And
so he was actually talking about the Patriots not sweating. We misunderstood him as the Giants were, but it turns out it was the Patriots. So John, thank you for blessing us with your presence today. We missed you, and it's good to have you. And
thank you.
And Jim's here to kind of push your buttons and get you going.
You can't push my buttons this week, okay? The Pats did what Jim claimed was impossible. Absolutely impossible. So watching that game, and Joe, if you can find that clip, please do, because I want the country to hear this, okay?
Here we go.
So watching that game from start to finish, Joe called it, I think, the best. Joe said this is going to be, and I was a little bit more reluctant than he was. Joe said this is going to be one of those games where this is a game that the Pats can win. And they came out, and I could tell from the beginning, even after Baltimore went up 7-0, I could tell the Patriots are kind of in control of this game. They just looked in control. Harris is an absolute beast at running back.
That boy, damn.
So right now, the three best players that are playing for New England, and in my opinion, minus the offensive line, they have a great offensive line this year. I mean, they are clicking on all cylinders right now, I think. As far as running, pass blocking, you know what, I'll talk about that here in a few. But as far as the run, they're doing great. So we got Harris, we got Jacoby Myers, and we got J.C. Jackson, all undrafted players that are making huge contributions to this team. Jacoby Myers threw a touchdown pass. He was recruited as a quarterback, turned into a wide receiver, found Rex in the end zone, put it between the safety and the cornerback, right in between them, and Rex knew right where to go.
Let's check that out real quick.
Yeah. In fact, if we can watch that play,
maybe you got a quarterback for next year now.
I mean, we may. I mean, look at that form.
It was a great hit.
Look at that safety.
He dropped it
right in between. Yeah. I mean, look at this form, and he knew he was getting hit, and he didn't care. Didn't care. Look at that. Rex is like, I got it, brother.
Cam couldn't throw the ball that far.
It's almost like he's done that before.
Yeah. I mean, maybe Cam could have, but he didn't have to on that play. That was the best part.
That was good.
J.C. Jackson, 5 interceptions in 5 straight games. Gilmore's still out. So not to get off the beaten path, but boy, if we can keep Gilmore and Jackson, man, a couple really good corners there. So anyways, let's talk about the game. So what did I look at? I looked at, again, Baltimore's running. So what they have, 150 and they average 4.1. That's fine. Ingram only carried the ball 5 times. Dobbins only carried the ball 5 times. And Lamar carried it 11. And most of those 11 plays, most of them weren't scripted. So they're trying to keep him in the pocket, and I'm not too sure what's going on. I mean, we actually got pressure on him, which I thought was kind of unexpected, but Guy was back to kind of anchor that defensive line. But why aren't they running Ingram? Ingram last year was an absolute beast, and I'm telling you, he sets the tone in the locker room. He sets the tone for the game, and that's what I think's wrong with Baltimore. I don't think there's anything wrong with Jackson. I truly don't, but I think he needs a running game. He's not Pat Mahomes. He doesn't make the plays that Mahomes can make on the run, like Russell Wilson as well. You know, Russell Wilson's a great out of the pocket passer. We don't know if Jackson is yet because we truly haven't seen that. Not so much this year, but last year I guess we did. But look at the running game they had last year. So I don't know what's up with Ingram. I don't know if he's hurt. I mean, I love him as a player. I really do. I'm glad he did only have 5 carries. But 5 carries in a game, like Jim, we were talking before, you called it. That weather was brutal. You knew you had to run the ball, and you give your best back 5 carries. He cannot be healthy. Absolutely cannot be healthy.
5 carries for 5 yards.
Yes. I mean, that's the crazy part. And as much as the Pats are running the ball with the ball control, and quite honestly, I mean, it was, Damian Harris had 22 carries, Brex had 6, and Cam had 11 for 21. And they weren't scripted runs again, I don't think. Those are more, he was getting flushed out of the pocket. He did only get sacked once. We sacked Jackson twice, which I was pleasantly surprised at. We knew there wasn't going to be a lot of passing yards in the game. Cam went 13 for 17, and Jackson threw 34 times. I didn't quite understand that in that weather. Why are you trying to throw that much, especially when you got Ingram and J.K. Dobbins? I mean, everybody thought, coming out of Ohio State, God, I predicted him and Patrick Queen as being, the AFC offensive and defensive player of the year, and they're just not using Dobbins either. So I'm not too sure what's going on. But what I will say, and I just want to, they're 4-5. Buffalo lost. Look at the excitement right now. Look at the excitement. I'm kind of coming back because, but I'll tell you what, Miami, I'm going to call it right now. However the standings end up, I don't know who's going to end up winning the AFC East. It's kind of a toss-up. It's kind of exciting. I think the Dolphins are going to be ahead of Buffalo. Whatever happens, the Dolphins will be ahead of Buffalo.
Yeah, I agree with you. I know we didn't say that in the preseason.
No, we sure did.
No,
we were talking about they're going to get the number 1 pick again.
That's right.
Yeah. Hey, so let's talk about the Dolphins real quick with this question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys think the Dolphins made the right move to switch to Tua this early, or nah? I think it was a mistake, and we talked about that initially. Like, after that Fitzpatrick game against the Jets, where he looked in complete control of this team, I thought it was a mistake. But at this point, I was wrong because Tua looks like he's got great control of that offense. It looks like the team is 100% behind him, and that's kind of what I was worried about. Is it seemed like it was Fitzpatrick's team, and those guys were with him, and swap it out like that, you take the chance of losing the locker room with it.
Yeah.
But it seems like they were just waiting for Tua, and Fitz was clearly the placeholder across the entire spectrum for me. I don't know. What do you think? Should they have stuck with him a little bit longer?
Yeah, I was. Go ahead, Jim.
No, you first. You first. I want to be last because I'm the right one.
All right. Oh, good. Okay. I'll go before you. I mean, I was surprised at the timing of it because you're right. He blew the Jets out, and then I understood letting Tua finish that game and getting his feet wet, and Fitz was over there cheering him on and getting the imaginary fans up and trying to get him excited. But I thought it was the right move to bring him in at that point. But then when they named him the starter the next week, I think even Fitzpatrick was like, well, wait a minute. I knew it was a kind of placeholder here for him. But I mean, we're on a positive path here. What are you going to switch it out now for? But, to their benefit, it's worked out. I mean, they look unstoppable. The defense all of a sudden is becoming unstoppable. And then Tua comes in, and it's like he's been here for 10 years. So it's been pretty impressive to watch.
Yeah, he looks so calm in the pocket. So no fluster, nothing, just smooth, calm. He's running through his reads. He looks like a seasoned vet, which is crazy for a guy who a year ago, they were talking about potentially not being able to play football because of that hip injury that he had. And here he is just like, hey, you got everybody else made a mistake. And, the whole tank for Tua and go winless with the Dolphins last year. And, man, did everything work out right for them. They still won a couple games, still got their quarterback. Everything seemed to be coming together for the Dolphins, which makes me sick.
So I thought they kind of jumped the gun initially, but we're also not Brian Flores either. We don't see what's happening in camp. We don't see what's happening week to week. I mean, he's thrown 5 touchdowns, no interceptions, and I purposely watched the Dolphin game last week because I love Tua. I mean, I'm a SEC fan through and through. Of course, my Badgers. You guys know I love my Badgers too, and a little Boston College. But anyway, so Tua coming out, kind of defying all odds. But if you watch some of the decisions he made at times, he could have thrown some picks. So I think there's still that learning curve. But the fact they weren't intercepted, what's he thrown for 500 yards? He's played in 4 games, but I mean, he's only started 2. First game he threw under 100 yards. Last game I want to say he had a couple hundred. So he's going to get there. He has a good tight end there, and that team of no names. Besides Tua, Parker, and the tight end, what's his name, Gesicki. Name other featured guys on that team, and Brian Flores is doing it after trading away Fitz to the Steelers for a first-round pick, which I thought was an absolute disaster. I was like, God, what a terrible trade for Pittsburgh. It's kind of worked out for both. So I think Miami's up and coming. Again, I think they're going to surpass Buffalo this year because I'll tell you what, Buffalo can't finish games. And take away last week, but that's just the stuff that happens with Buffalo. I mean, we were a fumble away from beating Buffalo or at least tying Buffalo. You know what I mean? So, and they didn't look good for the 4 weeks prior to that. And I think we were talking about that. They started out like crazy. And they got a good team. I don't know, but I'll tell you what, Brian Flores, I loved him when he was in New England, and God, I hate to see Miami doing well, but it's kind of nice seeing more than one team relevant in the AFC East, even though mine's in third right now. But I don't think it's going to finish like that because there's a newfound beat.
Look at what's happening here. Look at what's happening in New England.
I'll tell you what, there's hope again, Jim. Wow. And now we're playing Houston this week. Not to get ahead of the pregame, but we're playing Houston. They have zero defense. Zero.
The last couple of weeks,
Jim, remember a couple of weeks ago?
His hat was down here. You couldn't even see his eyes. Now it's all the way up here. Look.
Don't
got the camo hat on.
Suck for Trevor. Tank for Trevor. Now
Tank. I mean,
what a difference one game makes, huh?
Look, that was PBR John. PBR John. Now you're talking to Vermont IPA John, who's seeing a little bit clearer. The clarity in my brain, the fog is gone. All joking aside, I didn't think New England had a chance against Baltimore. I truly didn't. It was such a fun game to watch, and I went to bed. I don't know what time it was. I had to get up and watch the end of it because it did finish pretty good. But I'll tell you what, again, from start to finish, they owned Baltimore. They absolutely owned them. And even though it was that close and at times they were down, man, they just looked really good. I mean, a solid performance.
So the Pats are on Sunday night, prime time, and there's a tornado coming through, and you go to bed.
No, I was laying down.
You're laying down.
I was laying down watching the game. I had to get up and go watch it.
He was getting ready to pull his mattress over top of him just in case that tornado
the roof blew off.
The roof
the whole house away. Yeah.
I mean, just a solid game. I mean, Folk missed an extra point, which kind of pissed me off. But if you looked at the wind on that kick, it was brutal. So I mean, I'm excited and they finally look good. You know what I mean? The Jets, they look like shit in one. Nobody was happy with that. They finally won a game and really looked good. It's the first time since, God, it's the first good win in 5 weeks, 6 weeks. You know what I mean? It really is.
So the question is, in my mind, is it that the Pats are better than we thought, or the Ravens are horrible? Which one is it? I mean, the Ravens, I just don't get it. Like I said last night on the show, I thought the Ravens were going to be much stronger going in. And then, they lay an egg up there. I get the fourth quarter. It was like playing in a car wash. It was impossible. You couldn't do anything. But up until then, they weren't doing anything. And I think if Jackson's not running the ball and you make him throw to beat you, it's not going to happen. I really don't think it's going to happen. So we have them in a couple weeks. And you saw my quote, I'm not sweating the Ravens. And I still, especially if I think right now, Giants versus the Pats, who's the better team right now? Patriots. If they played tonight, no. Try again. I'll give you another guess.
Patriots.
No, I'll give you Giants versus Pats tonight. Any field in the country, don't matter. Who's the better team?
I'll tell you what. You call Joe. I'll call Bill, and we'll get them on the field right now.
Right. How about
it's
Judge
only a couple hours
Belichick?
Away. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
we'll have them two fight. So Bill's a little old.
It's the Patriots.
Giants are better. So
Patriots. Patriots.
Come on, Jim.
Oh, come on.
There's like I said last night, stop.
There's no chance.
Stop.
There's no chance. No, I'm not talking about with the guys that opted out for COVID in New England. I'm talking about the team on the field right now versus the Giants team on the field right now.
So what week do we play you guys?
Who would be the favorite? What would be the odds on that game, you think? How many points are we going to give you? 5, maybe?
5.
I think it's probably 4.5 or 5.
Jim, here, let me double check something real quick.
Here we go. You're gonna bring up point differentials or something? What are we gonna bring up now?
No.
Are we talking about the Giants team who hasn't definitively won a game yet this year?
So the Giants have won 3 games. You guys are 3-7, and you're telling me right now
you won how many? How many
4.
did you win?
4, 4, and lost 2 less.
Oh, okay.
I mean, do I need to go? Look,
I still don't buy it. I still don't buy the Pats are better.
Look, I'm a quality engineer. I deal with facts. The facts are the Patriots have a better winning percentage. So they're better.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
Hey, it's your opinion. You can, that's fine. That's fine.
I say
no.
Get him, John.
I will say this. I will say in that division, even with Andy Dalton coming back, it sounds like he cleared concussion protocol.
Yeah, he's supposed to play.
So he's going to play. They're done. They are so. I mean, as a team, I think they're jaded. I mean, the question is McCarthy going to even last this year?
Right.
No. I don't know. I don't think that's the right coach for that team. So I think Jerry Jones is going to go younger. That's just my opinion. But now, I think the Giants are the best team in the NFC East. But like I said, how many wins does it take to win that division? And it's going to be 6.
Right.
So first team to 6 wins.
There are 2 different arguments that you guys are having, right? Like the Patriots are the better team against the 2, but the Patriots are not going to win their division this year. It's just not going to happen. The Giants are. I still think we said it 3 weeks ago now. The Giants are going to come out of nowhere. They're going to come back. They're going to charge. They're going to win the division.
Mm-hmm.
I still think the Giants have the best chance of winning that division. Looking at the other teams,
I agree.
I think that's it. And I honestly, with Alex Smith under center, I think Washington's going to come in second. I really do. I mean, their defense is better.
Probably with 4 wins or 3 wins. Yeah,
they're gonna. I think they're the better. I think they're better than the Eagles, and the Cowboys are just. I don't even know how they're still an NFL football team. They're playing so bad. Did you guys see the stat the other day that over the last 20 what was it? The last 26 games, I think it was, or something like that, that the Jets and the Cowboys have identical records.
Wow. No. Really?
Yes.
And the Jets are 0 what? 0 season?
0-9. 0-9.
How could they be identical?
The last 20, they said they're both 7-21.
Wow, that's hard to believe.
Or 7 and yes, I think it was 7-21. I was like, holy crap, that's
wow, that's horrible.
I thought that was pretty interesting.
I didn't realize they were that bad last year. I guess I don't remember their record, but wow.
Yeah, well, they were picking high enough to get CeeDee Lamb. I think they drafted him
that's true.
What was it, like 13 or 14, something like that?
Mm-hmm.
So, crazy, but yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. But to get back to this game, and John, I think you absolutely got it right on what the issue was. There was never a point where the Ravens were out of this game. I mean, they were playing catch up for a little while, but it was never out of hand. This game was never out of hand to where you had to be throwing the ball. And you pointed it out perfectly. You look at the running disparity. Damian Harris almost had as many rushing or as many carries as that entire Baltimore team in a game where you couldn't even see the field. Why are you trying to pass the ball when it was really for most of the game a 1-possession game? So you've got Mark Ingram, you've got Dobbins. Why are you not pounding that defensive line in that weather?
Edwards had more carries than both of them.
Right.
And he had 7.
And was by far the most productive.
Most productive,
6-yard carry, but 6 yards per carry. But it doesn't make any sense that they would go with that.
I know why, Joe. And I'm going to piggyback off of what you said.
The Bill Belichick factor, and they were scared.
You know what? I was just going to say, it's the same reason Pete Carroll threw from the 2 when you had Marshawn Lynch shredding them in the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
They went in saying, "No, what the weather's like crap. We're going to throw the ball. We're going to catch them off guard." I still think Bill Belichick is feared by any coach in the NFL. Especially think about if you have to play New England now. Okay, after watching them beat Baltimore. Jim, maybe you're right. Maybe Baltimore is overrated. Maybe they're not the team. But I'll tell you what, a lot of teams fear the Ravens. They really do. New England, to me, manhandled them, even though the score doesn't show it. I watched that game, and Baltimore never had a chance. They just looked awful.
Right.
Was it because they're awful, or was it because New England played great? I don't know. I don't even care. But that Bill Belichick factor of Pete Carroll, throwing at the 2, teams trying to outsmart them by doing like weird ass funky plays when you don't have to. You know what I mean?
You mean like the wide receiver throwing a touchdown like that?
Exactly. But we needed that. We needed that.
Hey, it worked for you. It worked.
Right. I mean, but that wasn't the premise of the whole game. But I've seen, You're right though, Jim, to your point, I've seen more trick plays by New England this year than I ever have in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking about, back end reverses, Edelman throwing the football, people just doing weird shit, direct snaps to, Sony Michel. It's just weird. And it's quirky and it never works. Mm-hmm. That's why when it worked, against Baltimore, I'm like, hey, that's a good defense to have it work against. That's They were missing some players. Calais Campbell wasn't playing. Jimmy Smith wasn't playing the cornerback. So they were missing some key players. But again, I mean, if you look at the teams right now for talent, I mean, the edge definitely goes to Baltimore. By far, the edge goes to Baltimore. But again, it didn't show, and it's coaching. Belichick probably turned on the sprinklers for 3 days outside and blowing wind and just soaking them, making them play in 4 feet of water, and that's just what he does. And I don't know.
Speaking of all that water, check this out. If you guys didn't get to see the game, the amount of rain that was coming down on that last drive, if East Coast guys, if you just passed out and couldn't stay awake, incredible amount of rain. Check this out real quick. Come on.
This is how you like seeing the game being played.
Look at this. You can't even see it.
It hit him in the face.
Yeah. It was, I mean, look at that.
But it looked like it was fog or like they had set fireworks off, but that wasn't
that was rain.
Yeah. It was
just rain.
Still threw the ball 34 times. Yeah. Thank you, Baltimore. Thank you, Harbaugh.
That's great.
You know what? You may see both Harbaughs getting fired this year. One at Michigan and one in Baltimore.
Maybe.
Michigan, definitely.
Oh, 100%.
He's got to be done.
He's going to be on the Jets coach next year.
Oh, God. Don't start.
So let me point something out, too. And, Jim, you're not going to like me for this. But I'm going to say it anyways. So looking at the schedules between Philly and the Giants, I only see 2 wins by each team. So Jim, here's I mean, the Giants do not have an easy schedule. They got, the Bengals, which can potentially be a win. At Seattle, tough game, probably high scoring, even though Seattle's hasn't looked great. Versus Arizona, Cleveland that can put up some points. They got to play up Baltimore and then the Cowboys. So I'll give them the Bengals and the Cowboys for sure.
Okay.
But, I mean, the other games are going to be tough for them. I mean, honestly, those other games are going to be pretty tough.
Mm-hmm.
So then I look at Philly, and Philly is kind of – hold on, sorry. I just don't know who has the better divisional record. But you got Cleveland, tough game, probably going to lose. Seattle, another one. They got at Green Bay versus the Saints, at Arizona. You guys – I mean, the NFC East is playing a brutal schedule. It's too bad they weren't like super good because it would have been a fun year to watch.
Yep.
And then at Dallas and then versus Washington. So those are the 2 games I see them as kind of their gimme. You guys get – I mean, I wouldn't even call Cincy a gimme in a way because their offense is so damn potent.
Right.
So 5 wins? I don't know. And I'm not dogging you. It's just I see some really tough games that you guys and Philly both have to play. And it's not going to be easy. But what's kind of neat is, like, Philly can lose the rest of their games. And if the Giants don't pull out something from Seattle, somebody, their last 2 weeks against Dallas and Washington are going to be super relevant. You know what I mean? Which kind of makes football kind of fun. I mean, unless the Giants go on a tear and they get, 8 wins or whatever, then we know it's not going to happen. But I mean, that division is going to come down to the last week.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I think it's just kind of cool. And it's not again, I'm not trying to be a asshole like I normally am to you about the Giants, but
please do it.
No, hey, it's fine. Come on.
I mean, it's kind of a dog, but it's kind of neat to see that two teams that, I mean, I still remember our preview for each division, and I want to say we all said the NFC was going to be a fairly decent division this year. You know what I mean? We're all talking. I mean, I thought the Giants were going to be a lot better. Granted, they lost Barkley. I mean, I'm sorry. You lose Barkley, you lose McCaffrey. Look at their records. It's going to show who kind of drives that team, especially with young quarterbacks. But, I mean, Philly's been hurt. Washington, they're on a quarterback that, almost lost his life 3 years ago. And a Dallas team who essentially the same thing. They lost their quarterback. So, each team in that division has had such key losses that they just can't overcome. And what's crazy is no one's kind of taken that division by storm against each other, because they all have kind of the same core problems going on as far as injuries.
Yeah, I mean, I remember us all taking Dallas, right? We thought they were the most loaded team, and they were going to run away with the division, and they should have. And even with Dak, they weren't winning. I mean, I remember the one game where he had to score 40-something points,
right?
And I don't remember if they won that game, but yeah, they just weren't doing the job. They weren't winning, weren't finishing games. And, I mean, even with Alex Smith, though, with Washington, he's been putting up numbers. He's been putting up yards. He's completing passes. So I don't know. I mean, maybe after a couple more games with him back and really shaking off the cobwebs and playing every week, I don't know what Alex. I told you I liked Alex in Kansas City and in San Fran, and I think he is a good quarterback. And I think it's going to take him a few weeks, but even with those few weeks, he's been throwing for over 300 yards. So he's not handing the ball off trying not to get hit. I mean, he's in there trying to do it. So, but yeah, I still think back to the Giants. Yes, I think Cincinnati isn't going to be a walkover like we talked about earlier on, but I do think the Giants beat Cincinnati. I do think the Giants beat Cleveland. I think they beat both Ohio teams, and I think we beat Dallas the last game of the season. And in reality, the Seahawks, and the Ravens, I think they're going to be competitive games. I think they're going to be close, probably both one-score games, and they probably go either way. One turnover, one little thing either here or there, and you don't know. So so it could be, and that would be the 7th win based on what I just said. That would be win number 7. If they can somehow Seattle or Baltimore, anything happen there where they come out of there with a win, it's win number 7. I mean, so I think it's possible. And it's just a shame that we started as bad as we did, because I think it took some time for Judge and everybody to buy into the program and understand what he's expecting. And man, I'm telling you, I've seen a lot of examples of, and we talked about it, where guys get hurt early in the game and they're back in the game for the end of the game. I mean, they're in there, they're fighting, they want to win, and he keeps preaching finish. Right, that's his word for the team. Finish. Unlike what Buffalo's doing, right? Finish the game. You got the lead. Finish. And I think they're buying into it, and they got a taste of winning, unlike what Joe deals with, and they like it, right? So I mean, once you win, I mean, competitors, like they say, right? Competitors are going to compete, right? They want to go out there and win. They don't want to tank. They don't want to lose every game. I mean, how disheartening is it to put the jersey on to know you're going to get your head taken off as soon as you go on the field? Who wants that?
Right.
I mean, I would opt out too. I mean, yeah. I mean, you got to go in there trying to win the game. Close game, you're not gonna, jump out of bounds at the 1 yard line. Thanks, Nick Chubb.
Right.
One more dig for Chubb. So.
Yeah, I
still don't understand that, but whatever.
Did you see that play? I know you weren't on last time. We talked about it.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Fantasy, who cares?
I mean, you go up by 10. You go up by 10. So who cares if they get the ball back with a minute?
But there's less than a minute left. Come on.
Right. I'll never understand that. Never, ever. Now, I got the other one. What was the other game where the controversy was where he stepped out of where he scored and he shouldn't have? The wide receiver,
Scott.
right?
Yeah. No, Boston Scott for the Eagles.
That's right. Boston Scott for the Eagles.
Both 2 different feet were on the white, and they reviewed it. No, good touchdown.
Right.
Well, Jim, let's jump back to your conversation real quick because crazy enough, somebody agrees with you. All right, New York Giants Zone watching us on YouTube. Thank you very much. Thinks the Giants are going to win the division at 6-10. So
yes, he knows what this guy or girl knows what they're talking about.
So I get a question then. What's the 6th game? I get Cincy. I get Dallas. What's their prediction for the other win? Because you said Cleveland, Jim, right?
Yeah.
Which I think that's going to be a tough game. I mean, at times they look good, you know, and you know how I feel about Baker Mayfield. I hope he loses every single week. I hope he gets cut and he ends up in the Arena Football League somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore.
Yep.
Wow.
So Ravens.
Wow.
Cowboys,
So there's
Cardinals.
2 Giants fans that aren't afraid of Baltimore.
Wow. Interesting, sir.
Baltimore, and he's a guy. Okay. Well, thank you, sir.
So you're saying at Baltimore, you guys are going to go into Baltimore.
The Ravens are showing us nothing. Ravens have showed us nothing.
I think they have a better chance to beat either Seattle or Cleveland than they do Baltimore.
Yes. Your 6th win is coming from the Browns.
Yeah, that's
if
fine.
anything.
And number 7. I'm talking about number 7. Where's 7?
I'm not saying 7. I'm saying they're going to win 6.
7's not going to happen.
7. Our defense.
7. You want to talk about 7?
7's a possibility. I'm happy with 6. 7's icing, right? 7's icing on the cake.
Yeah,
there.
your defense will shut them down. I don't know
This guy obviously knows what he's talking about.
So Giants
fans. Yes.
So he's saying what Jim's been kind of preaching, that the defense will shut him down. But here's my thing, and I said this a couple weeks ago. When is Baltimore gonna click? Or are they, or maybe not? I'm telling you, when that offense, they need one game to get it going. Here, hold on a second. And sorry, but I picked Baltimore to not win the Super Bowl, but to go to Super Bowl. So I get kind of
and that's not happening either.
So that makes you question everything, John. Exactly what you're saying is if Baltimore was so dominant last year, and all they did was add players, they didn't lose anybody of significance. They added J.K. Dobbins. They added Patrick Queen, 2 outstanding talent college players coming out of the draft that they really stole by all regards. They stole them. So how do you go from a team that nobody could stop last year, just steamrolling everyone, except for the Titans, to a team that now looks like a run-of-the-mill football team? It doesn't.
Mark Ingram, I'm telling you, Lamar needs a running game. And if Mark Ingram, I may almost agree with Jim and the only other Giants fan in the country.
There you go.
No, not even close. No.
Not even close. I know.
One of the best cornerbacks in the league, and James Bradbury.
Agreed.
And McKinney back too.
And I'll tell you what, Logan Ryan looks great in the secondary right now too. He's starting to play really well. Really well.
He does. Yep.
He looks good. I feel like Bradbury's playing above his head right now. He was not this good in Carolina. He was a good player, but he wasn't playing to the level he is right now. So,
it goes to coaching, right?
Maybe it's Joe Judge. Maybe Joe Judge is bringing it out in him, bringing that next level out in Logan Ryan, because he looks like he did in New England. He's all over the place. So, maybe.
It's something about this area. It's just like when someone goes to the Yankees and they take off, right? It's just something that's here. You guys don't understand it.
Who's that? Jacoby Ellsbury? Did you mean Jacoby Ellsbury?
Yeah, no, not an ex-Boston guy. No, not a Red Sox. I'm talking about Luke Voigt. I'm talking about guys like that come in and take off.
Yeah. So this is the one thing I will agree with, Giants.
Absolutely.
Wayne Gallman. And I've been on Gallman for a couple weeks now because he looks like the best running back on that team outside of Saquon Barkley, obviously. But right now, if it's me, I'm telling Freeman to just go kick rocks. Don't even worry about coming back. Like
He's probably not. He's done.
Just leave him on IR. Just let him sit there for the rest of the year, just in case something happens. But give Gallman the run. Just let him go. He looks fast. He looks strong. He's decisive. He's powerful. I mean, he hits like we showed in the highlights. He can go 2-3 yards up and over, or he could push that line right into the end zone. So when you've got a back that's that nimble that can go up and take go up over the line with ease. It wasn't one of those go up and then get pushed back but reach over. I mean, it was just clear over them.
Yep.
And then he still has enough strength to push the line and barrel his way in. So yeah, give it to Gallman. That is true. And we talked about this. I don't know, Giants Zone, I don't know if you've never interacted with us, so I don't know if you've ever watched any of our other shows, but we talked about this a couple weeks ago, was the Giants, when the Giants run began, it was because of Daniel Jones's legs. Letting him move in the pocket, letting him run was what was going to open that offense up, get that one-on-one coverage, and let Gallman work a little bit. So I agree with it's waking up, because what are you seeing? You're seeing Daniel Jones running the ball. It's just, he's looked good. He should have had 2 rushing touchdowns last week. He should have had an 80-yard rushing touchdown a couple weeks ago. So he's moving, and it's looking good. He's looking good. If they could keep that up, I think, like we said, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, and when everybody was saying the Giants were going to have the first pick in the draft, that
who's everybody?
All of sports nation was, the Jets and Giants are picking 1 and 2 in the draft, and one in some form or fashion. It was what everybody was talking about. And me and you were sitting here saying, no, the Giants are going to still come back and win the division. And that was the keys. Wayne Gallman running, Daniel Jones running the ball, opening up lanes for Gallman and getting one-on-one coverage for those wide receivers. And you're seeing it happen. So I think that's the key now. But
no doubt. Look at that. That's exactly right. It's almost like I'm typing these questions.
Is this you? Did you start your own YouTube channel?
Yeah, so here's my concern about the Giants, and it lies with the quarterbacks. And it lies with the quarterback. He's saying Daniel Jones is looking good. I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, the last couple games he's thrown 1 touchdown. For the season, I didn't realize he only has 8 touchdowns in 10 games and 9 interceptions. Yards are there. He's averaging a couple hundred a week. But when is that passing game going to open up? Because if it doesn't, Gallman better hope he starts running the way you guys think he can, which I think he can. But Jones is going to have to run a little bit more too. It's just that passing game for the Giants honestly reminds me of New England's. It's almost not existent. Now he's put up big games, I know, as far as yards, but I mean, 8 touchdowns in 10 games and 9 interceptions. When last year, what do you have? 25 and 13 or something? Because I know he doubled his touchdowns over interceptions, but I agree. But is it because they're not that good? I mean, because they can't get separation? Because that's kind of what New England's dealing with. And maybe that's Cam's problem. I don't know. I mean, I just see a very similar situation, but by far, the Giants have much better weapons.
Hell yeah.
Than Jones's numbers show. I mean, they got a first-class tight end. Never mind Golden Tate, because he'll be injured in the next 2 weeks. Slayton, okay, he had a good game last week, but man, where was he the last 3 or 4 games? I mean, is he not finding them? Because at times he kind of overthrows them. So he has the weapons there. If he can get on sync with those receivers, the Giants will be a very scary team.
Yeah. And you've got to remember that he's a young quarterback too, right? I mean, he's not decent. He hasn't been playing very long. This is year 2 for him, right? So he's still learning. He's still adjusting. He's still getting used to it, and he doesn't have Saquon Barkley there to bail him out, to be that crutch for him. But on the other hand, you're playing in the softest league, in the softest division potentially ever in this.
You should be torching them. You should be torching them.
Right. These games shouldn't be close, and that's another thing we've talked about is how the Giants stumble at the end. As they're coming up to the finish line, they're tripping over every hurdle that is there, and everybody's catching up to them and passing. They're just not doing enough. They did last week. They did enough to hold on and get that win, but they're not blowing people out. And with the talent they had, yes, they should be blowing Washington out. They should be blowing the Eagles out. They should be blowing out the Cowboys. Those should be guaranteed wins. At halftime, you could go out, barbecue, go on a nice walk, not have to worry about anything. But these games, every week, down to the wire, without fail.
So yeah, there's something to that. But if you look at every pregame show, everyone took the Eagles. Nobody took the Giants. Yeah. Nobody gave the Giants any chance. So it's easy now to say the Giants should have blew everybody out. Yes, I agree with Washington, but Eagles, the Giants were the underdog. The Giants, everybody and their mother was picking the Eagles, and the Giants beat them outright. I mean, the Giants had the lead from the get-go, never relinquished, whole game, held them off, couldn't do anything. And I think Jones is playing better now. So he's cut down on the turnovers. There were no turnovers in the last game. He's not throwing the ball. He's not throwing the ball away anymore. He's protecting the ball. Even when he's running, he's holding it up high. He's up against his body. So I think, he's really – I was concerned about Garrett coming over. I wasn't sure Garrett was going to be able to do anything, but I really think, okay, so it's been half the season now. Garrett's in. We got a new coordinator, right? Now buying into Judge. We got a new coach. And I'm telling you, they're gelling, and you're going to see week to week. Keep watching because you don't want to miss it.
Well, I did talk a lot of shit to you this past week, but I actually thought the Giants were going to win that game the whole time. It's my job to talk shit. So if we have a nice kumbaya show on here, nobody's going to watch it. So yeah, so I thought the Giants were actually going to win that game, but I knew if I said the Giants were going to win that game, then they would have lost. And I needed them to at least win another to get out of the conversation for the Trevor Lawrence thing. So now, I needed that. But yeah, they just look better. But
I'll say one thing, though. The next 3 games, they play Cincy, Seattle, and Arizona, right? If Jones can't throw touchdown passes, they're going to get wiped off the field. They just are. Those teams score points. Mm-hmm. We haven't seen the Giants face up against these types of offenses yet, to where they're having to score a lot of points. That's kind of what I'm getting at. If they don't get in sync, they may not beat Cincy only on the pure fact that Cincy can outscore them. Because, Joe Burrow's going to throw the ball 75 times until his arm falls off. You know what I mean? He may throw 4 picks, but he'll throw 4 touchdowns too. So it's just something that the Giants are going to have to get on. And it's funny, he wrote they hate on us. And I'm a big Joe Judge fan, man. I love all my New England disciples. Trust me. I always love them. They did face Brady's offense. I agree. They shut down Tampa.
That's right.
With
all the weapons.
I don't disagree with that. With tons of weapons. You're right. Everybody thought Tampa was going to roll. And that's Judge knowing Tom, I think, too. I think part of that is Judge knowing Tom. But I got to give credit to that secondary because they were on those receivers like crazy. But I'm just saying they got a lot of games where they're playing some high-powered offenses. And, it should be kind of fun to watch because, since he puts up points, Seattle will put up 50 points. And as long as you guys can put up 51, which the defense will give up.
Seattle's not going to put up 50 points. They're not going to put up – Seattle hasn't been doing anything. First of all, their defense is horrendous. And their offense, what have they been doing?
Seattle's
not doing anything.
If the Giants can't score points on Seattle, then forget it. They're garbage.
Thank you.
And Arizona's going to destroy them. It's going to be like San Francisco.
Arizona's the biggest concern I have.
Hold on, Jim.
Arizona's the biggest concern.
38, 35, 38, 27, 34, 37, 34, and 16. That's what Seattle's put up this year. Okay. That's a lot of points, man.
It is.
The defense is giving up that much. That's why I said you can give up 50 to them because they're probably going to give up 51 to you. You know what I mean? As long as you guys are gelling that game. But that's also in Seattle. It's the East Coast going to the West Coast. It's a little weird.
That's a concern. That's a concern.
Yep. But
what time is that game? Is that a late game, hopefully? Seattle, 4:05. Okay. So
technically it's a 7 o'clock game, for them. Right? No, wait a minute. 4:05 here, right?
Yeah.
So that's
1 o'clock.
That's 1 o'clock there, yeah.
Yep.
Arizona will not destroy us. We always compete. We could.
Week 1, and they're still undefeated.
Wow. They just better hope they can score. That's all. I'm not saying the Giants are going to lose all these games. I'm just saying if these teams continue to score the way they do and put up the numbers, I guess we're going to see how good Daniel Jones because it's going to rely on his arm. I mean, it truly is going to rely.
Yeah. Right, but again, I think it's the tale of two halves of the season, right? If they played these teams in the first half of the season, yes, I think it would have been a lot worse. I think now that the team's coming together and they're playing them at the right time, because I think the Giants are gelling now. Everyone's playing at their highest now, and this is the time to play these teams. So, yeah, I think we go in. No, I don't think Arizona's. So, I didn't say Arizona was going to destroy us, but I think they're
this right here.
They're the toughest competition.
I can't take serious. I can't take this seriously anymore. Arizona is going to fucking steamroll the Giants. Steamroll them.
Let's keep that clip. Make sure we have that clip for later.
Oh. Yes, it's recording. I'll cut that so I can drop it again. They are going to destroy you. Kyler Murray.
He's right, though. So far, we've shown that we've been able to stay with everybody.
Yeah, but Pittsburgh's offense, I get that the Steelers game was close, but Pittsburgh's offense isn't the greatest right now. They're winning just because they do enough on offense to win, and their defense is holding. Like I said, you guys haven't played these types of offenses. Tampa Bay, yes. So you guys had a big test. You succeeded with it. I'll give you that.
Right.
But I'm telling you, Arizona, if you think, I don't
that's
see
going to be
man.
That's going to be the toughest game in the stretch.
I think Seattle is too in Seattle because they're going to score a lot of points again. And here, let me look something up. I'm the stat guy today. All right, I want to be the stat guy. I kind of like this.
You're hired.
So the Giants, they put up 16, 13, 9, 9. Okay, so now here's where they turn the corner. 34 in a loss to Dallas, only 20 to a loss to 20 to a win to Washington, 21 against the Eagles, 23 against Tampa, 23 against Washington, and 27 against Philly. So you're right; they're scoring in the mid-20s after scoring in single digits. Because I remember talking about this where they had only scored like 10 points a game. So you're right. So if their defense can even hold Arizona to 24 points, they do have a chance to win.
Right. I mean,
but I'm telling you, if Arizona and Seattle score in 30, 40 points, I guess we'll see if Jones is that good.
Is that a game where Arizona's looking past the Giants maybe too? Who knows? Is that a trap game for them? Who knows?
I think after this week and the Hail Mary, boy, I hate to be whoever's playing Arizona next week.
Seattle. Thursday.
Oh boy.
That's a great
I'll
game.
tell you what, Arizona's winning that game. Arizona's going to win that game.
So I agree. I don't think Seattle has any chance.
So, John, talking stat-wise, you just rattled off what Seattle scored. Arizona, 24, 30, 26, 31, 30, 38, 37, 34, 32.
You can't stop them. You can't stop them.
They're going to.
You can only hope to contain them, a.k.a. Chris Berman. I got to give Chris Berman that. That's not my line.
Yeah. They're just they're unstoppable.
You cannot stop them.
But speaking of that Thursday game, how exciting is that? How exciting is that game going to be?
That is a good one.
I mean, after Seattle pulled it off 37-34 3 weeks ago, and now you get the rematch. Or actually, sorry, Arizona won that 37-34 3 weeks ago, and now you go into Seattle.
I don't think Seattle.
You got to do it again.
I don't think Seattle has a chance.
I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair, but I think Arizona wins. I think we're going to see another 30s or 40s points put up by both teams. Take the over. Even if the over's 80, take it, because you know what? Vegas is right.
It's gonna be high. I wonder what it's actually at. And while we've got some viewers, reminder: please subscribe. Hit that alert button. Make sure you catch our shows each week and interact with us. I appreciate, and I know we all appreciate everybody dropping some lines in there, getting us having some conversation. Thank you very much. But please subscribe, hit that bell, and stay with us each week.
I like this guy who's talking. He almost makes Jim look sane.
Hey, he knows what's going on.
That's good.
Man, you guys are drinking some serious giant Kool-Aid. How much sugar do you guys put in that giant Kool-Aid?
So at present, the spread is Seattle by 3, over under 57.5 points.
Over all day long.
Whew.
Over.
Yeah, it's I'd take the over on 63, I think.
Yeah.
In this game. It's going to be brutal, so
But Seattle's not going to stop. Seattle's not going to stop Arizona. No chance.
Look, my Pats aren't even impressing me. Trust me, I know.
He went to sleep during the game. He went to lay down.
No, I laid down watching it. So
okay.
They have impressed me the first half of the season. Cam got sick, and I don't know how much you've watched in this Giants zone. But the Pats could have easily won a couple games. They didn't, so I'm not giving them credit for that. They lost. I don't care. But I'm telling you, Buffalo and Miami are not proven yet. I'm still not sold. I like that quote better. But I'm telling you, the AFC is up in the air. The AFC is up in the air right now. Nobody wants to see New England even close to them. I agree. Cam looked great until he got COVID. So I still think he's dealing with that, to be quite honest.
Oh, so speaking of the Jets, can we talk about what's going on with that right now? Because yes, I have nothing to talk about, but
who are the Jets? You talking about the Winnipeg Jets?
The Winnipeg Jets of Northern Ontario, Canada.
Gotcha.
I don't really know my Canadian geographic layout, but it sounded good. But so Sam is being held out again off this. So he came back and played, took that hit. He's been out now for 2 weeks. Off of now they're saying he's got an AC joint fladuba injury.
Yep.
So what do you guys make of this? Sorry. Is this to me this is all for the tank, right? Like it's got to be.
I think Flacco's better. I mean, honestly, I think if you're going to tank, put in Darnold. Flacco was torching New England, 2 weeks ago.
Flacco has more yards than Joe Montana.
Yes. So you think? So if that's the case, you have to say that they're done with Sam, right? Like if you're not going to put him back in there, are you done with him? Or are you trying to protect him for next year? That's what I'm afraid of. That they're trying to
really
protect
hurt
him.
though. Now, I mean, now you kind of have to question: is he really hurt?
I don't know,
because he's not even backing up Flacco. You know what I mean? He's not. I mean, he's not suiting up. It's kind of an odd situation, but I mean, this situation is no weirder than Gase still having a job.
It is, and Giants. I've addressed this numerous times, but the whole thing is, even if you bring in Trevor, how is that going to change anything with the bad team that you have? So you cannot have a winning team in the NFL today without a high caliber quarterback. You just can't do it. You look at every team, they have a high caliber quarterback running that offense. If you don't have it, and we don't have it with Sam, he hasn't played a full season in his 3 years due to injury or his choice of women, whichever it is, has cost him games with this team. So you can't count on him to even get through a full season. You haven't seen any progression in his play in the 3 years. So you can't count on him, and it's a direct reflection on how the team is. So you start with Trevor. You grab Trevor, and you start building around that. Like you said, like you've got Trevor, you got the number 1 pick, you've got the Seahawks first-round pick, you got the first pick in the second round. There's 3 great players that you're going to grab right off the
32 picks. All they have to do is get those 3 right. Think about that. They can tank the rest of the friggin' draft. If they can get those 3 picks right, man, that's something to build on. But I agree, it's not Darnold's fault, but he's definitely not the solution for the Jets. He's just not.
No, but I think it's I have a hard time with this because it's hard to say what they're doing. If they're trying to protect him and keep him for next year,
no way.
Or if that's it,
can't be.
If that's just it,
I think either way, maybe they want to try and trade him or do something else. So they got to get him healthy. Yeah, right? They got to get him healthy one way or the other. He's no good injured. It makes no sense to let him play at 0-9, 0-10, whatever the hell they're going to end up with. Just leave him on the sidelines now. Let Flacco go. If Flacco gets hurt, whoever. I don't even know who your next guy is. Who's the third guy?
I don't know.
Nobody.
Right? I don't know if James Morgan, who we drafted in the 4th round, which was 7 rounds too early to draft him, out of Florida Atlantic.
I think Willie Mays Hayes is their backup.
It might be, but he always comes up short. Why? But yeah, so it's going to be rough. But yeah, I think that, Jim, I think you're probably right. Like, you get him healthy and you trade him, and I do. I like Sam. Right? I like Sam. He's got a ton of talent. He really does. And I think he needs a change of scenery, and he needs an offense. He needs somebody that's going to build an offense that highlights his strengths. Because this Adam Gase doesn't know how to do it. I don't know how he got this quarterback whisperer nickname or persona that has seemed to follow him, because he's the worst offensive-minded football coach potentially in the history of football.
Ever.
Like, even Mike Greenberg with that quote saying he wouldn't even want him to teach coach his kids Pee Wee football team. He's such a bad coach.
That's like some cold shit to be saying.
It really is, but it's true. He's had what was it that I saw? So he's out of 37 weeks that he's been the Jets coach, he has had the 32nd ranked offense for 30 weeks out of I think it's 36 or 37 weeks that he's coached the team. He's had the worst offense in football for 30 weeks out of 36 or 37. How is that possible? Just sheer luck would say that you would at least get to 31st for a week every now and then.
No. Well, when you keep running the same play over and over, I mean, it's not hard to figure out what he's going to do. I mean, it's same lineup, same no motion, no nothing. Come on, it's terrible. It's just terrible.
Still go back to that press conference. I thought that was a joke. I truly thought that was a joke when I see it on Facebook. I'm like, wow, somebody again created a great meme. Yeah. And then I YouTubed it for the real press conference. I'm like, holy shit, he is tripping. He is on what I don't know,
smelling salts or whatever he does.
Something. Mescaline, is there still mescaline out there, kids? That's what he looked like he was.
Ask the kids.
What are the drugs being sold on the street? Mescaline. Not that I'm enticing that. I'm just saying it looks like he was on something.
He was on all of them.
He wasn't right. He wasn't right.
He was on all of them. He got to New York and he saw how bright the lights were in New York compared to Miami. It was just
it was the freakiest thing. It was scary.
Yeah.
It was like the time
that's exactly what our offense
was on that talk show and jumping off the couch saying how much he loved Katie Holmes. I love her. That's like Gase fucking on that press conference.
That's right.
Thanks, Giant Zone. Tell all your friends, man. Tell them to answer some. Tell them to throw some questions. Keep coming to see us, man. We like it because we need somebody to make Jim look sane. Right. And you're almost there. Almost there.
To put out a point out of the whole conversation, it's the first thing you've said that really makes sense.
Oh, come on, leave him. Come on.
Spot
He's
on,
been
man.
right. He's been right all along. He's hitting on all cylinders.
He's got it. He's
hitting on all cylinders. New York Giants zone.
So
appreciate it.
Yeah, I guess we'll see what happens with the Jets. Super excited for that 0-16 and Trevor Lawrence. Buy my Trevor Lawrence jersey when the season starts. So it's gonna look good. I'm just like, what number is he gonna be? What's his hair gonna look like in the helmet?
Come on!
I'm just daydreaming right now.
The golden locks. Doing just hairspray commercials in New York City.
Oh, you could see it now. He's gonna be so Joe Namath, like pulling that off, doing the whole. Flailing his hair around. He's
going to be doing this because they're going to say, "You're going to the Jets." He's going to say, "No, I'm not ever going to throw the ball with a green uniform on."
So they're going to hire Mike Ditka. Ditka's going to draft him and show up with a blonde wig on, just like he did with Ricky Williams.
Perfect.
That's going to be Gase. He's going to be tripping on whatever drug he does, and does Gase make it the season?
Yes.
He has to now, right?
At this point, what's the difference? I mean, right, I would say leave him in there. Who cares? Maybe he could be the backup quarterback.
Yeah, he's got to.
He may be.
He might be better at quarterback.
Player coach, you know, maybe
he might be a better quarterback than he is a head coach. Can't hurt to try. If worst case he gets hurt and then we don't see him again.
I'm just going to say this: the Jets just have to hit on those 3 picks. They have to.
Yeah,
if they miss on any of them, they're going to be a little bit behind.
And as long as Seattle keeps losing, that pick gets better and better.
Yeah. So you don't want Seattle in the playoffs.
No.
Playoffs.
No, I wanted to be sitting home on the couch watching the playoffs and giving us a premier pick there. And, you draft another offensive lineman, a nice edge rush there at the end of the second round because somebody great always drops. There's always somebody that goes, how did they drop to the second round?
Got in trouble or something,
even, the Bengals this year, like T. Higgins was their first pick in the second round. And he was not supposed to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And they got gold with T. Higgins. That he looks great. It took him a little while, but definitely looking like a top receiver. A lot of the rookies do. They said this was going to be the strongest rookie wide receiver class in history, and it's producing all around. But
it is.
Let's close it out with this, Jim. A last question for you before we call it a night. So go ahead. So Jim, how do you feel about Gettleman, and do you
bench Love?
Do you bench
McKinney, Peppers, and Ryan start? So that would be look at this. That would be a great scene to see that. To see McKinney and Peppers, and man, I'll tell you, Peppers is exciting to watch. Man, that kid catching punt returns, he is just an exciting player, and to have him and Ryan and Xavier back there, that would be exciting. I think they definitely got to rotate him in. I wouldn't throw him right in, but you probably do start him. You probably do start McKinney when he's back, and then Love just spells them and trade the guys out. But I really love the way the defense is coming together. And Gettleman, I think Gettleman's made some mistakes. I think the Giants got to think seriously about do they make a move? Do they make a change there? I love what Judge is doing, but Gettleman, I think, has made some poor choices, and it's going to be interesting this offseason to see what the Giants decide to do with him, if they decide to make a move or not.
Do they have to sign Peppers this year? After this year, is he on 4 or year 5?
Was
he drafted 16 or 17? Right?
I don't remember.
He was drafted after. What's his nuts?
Hold on. Let me take a look here.
Man.
Well, no, he was drafted. I know by Cleveland. Okay, 2017, 25th pick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he's coming up on year 5.
Yeah, so they'll pick up the option for year 5. I have no doubt. So, Giant Zone, have a good night, man. Thank you for
good
coming
stuff.
in.
Good stuff. Appreciate it.
We'll see you next time to hear the ridiculousness. And here's
Tommy Klein,
very
my favorite
man.
sheet metal guy.
Very smart man right here. See, he gets it right off the bat. Straight.
He wants autographs. Nice.
He wants autographs. Nice. He's not messing around.
Tommy, I enjoyed our talks because you are always spot on. And once again, I mean, even out of uniform, our talks, you're still spot on.
Yep.
Anyway, all right. So I think we should probably wrap it up. I think we're at the end of our chat. So
I will. No doubt. Actually, make sure you're on after we beat the Bengals next week. We'll take a rest this week, and next week we play the Bengals, and make sure you come back so we can rub it in their face a little bit.
Now I got to pick the Bengals.
Pick them, please.
I can't handle 2 fans.
So Jim or John, if you could get Justin ready for the show. We need to have Justin on the show on Thursday for the preview show. So it's got to happen.
Fan out there. So.
We'll do.
So we'll do.
Believe it or not, there's a Bengals fan out there, and we know him. Well, at least John does.
I do.
We found him. Actually, John's daughter actually caged him and domesticated him, and he does a lot of pacing. If you've ever been to the zoo and seen the tiger, he just paces back and forth along his front fence. But don't get too close; he'll pee on you. But otherwise, he's a really, really nice guy. But we definitely have to have him on Thursday.
We will.
Because
I'll get him on Thursday.
Can't wait to see that. So yeah, we'll do the preview show on Thursday for our teams and what's to come. And definitely have Justin. I cannot wait for that battle between the two of you back and forth. I might have. It's going to be a couple beers probably set up here, so I could just sit back and enjoy it. It's going to be gold.
That'll be good. That'll be good.
Yeah. So please, please follow us on Twitter at the Bean Apple One. If you're there, we'll post everything on there and some snippets as well. And please subscribe, like the channel, like everything, because why wouldn't you? I mean, the show's just outstanding. So set your alerts to all so you get all of our messages or all of our show notifications and you don't miss a second of the show. So until Thursday, please make sure you're back for the big battle between the Giants and the Bengals fan. Hopefully it comes to fruition. Fingers crossed.
Can't wait.
And until then, for John, for Jim, I'm Joe. We'll see you guys next time.